Many riders crash on roads they know, not because they're reckless, because their brain goes offline. I'm breaking down 14 high-risk complacency traps that sneak up when the weather's perfect, you're close to home, or you just wrenched on the bike. Plus, simple fixes you can use today and a bonus checklist. Let's start with the nastiest comfort trap. Mistake 14, local hero mode. You know this road, so you run a late apex like it's your personal track. But seasons change lines. Spring gravel piles where plows spit it. Fall leaf mulch turns to grease after rain. Summer tar patches smear when hot. The road you think you memorized? It's been edited without your consent. You dive late, eyes on the inside paint, and hit the trash right at max lean. The math just doesn't work. Here's what fixes it. Reset your entry like you've never seen it. Slow and sooner, neutral throttle, earlier vision to the exit. Build your apex for today's conditions, not last month's muscle memory. Your pride wants to prove you've still got it. Ignore it and scan for change. Gravel, sheen, leaves, busted shoulder, fresh chip seal. Mistake 13. I've got this corner. That whisper is a setup. You lock your eyes mid-corner, roll off when the radius tightens, and the bike stands up, right into the oncoming lane. That stand-up reflex is how people get clipped head-on. What's crazy is it feels like saving traction, but you're trading lean for lane position at the worst moment. Fix it with this cadence. Look, lean, roll. Eyes to the exit early. Commit to a light maintenance throttle once the bike is pointed. If you need to adjust, do it with vision first. Push outside bar, add a whisper of throttle to settle the front. Never roll off abruptly mid-corner unless you're straightening and braking in a prepared pocket. Now the maintenance trap embedded in comfort. You trust old tires because they felt fine last week. Pressures drift with temperature. That squared rear you've been commuting on, it kills grip at initial tip-in. You fall off the flat, load a worn shoulder with cold, low pressure, and the rear slides. It feels random. It isn't. Your move. Pressure gauge every Sunday, front and rear, cold, set to spec for your load. If your rear's flattened, treat your first lean like it's raining. And stop lying about age. Rubber hardens. A 5-year-old, plenty of tread left tire is a hockey puck. One of my students crashed within 2 miles of home. Same corner every week. Solid rider, not a clown. Light rain the night before. Sun out by noon. Road looked clean. He ran his normal pace, late apex for style, and forgot the leaf mulch that sticks along the inside edge next to the ditch. Front skimmed it at lean tiny slide, he panicked, stood the bike up, and crossed into the opposing lane. No car, thank the actuaries, but the ditch post ended the ride. He swore the corner changed. It didn't. His brain did. Fixed pattern you can use today. Before you leave Demi, do a 30-second road status check. Season, last weather, recent road work. Roll out with a calibration mile. Smooth throttle, easy lean, feel the surface. Eyes up through the exit, not at the apex paint. Throttle discipline. Set it and hold it. No mid-corner chops. If you need to correct, look first, then press, then roll on a hair. Notice how this one exposes the real problem. Familiarity erases details. Your brain edits out the sand at the shoulder and the shiny tar stripe across the radius because it expects home turf. Don't let it. Make 2 micro habits. Call out 1 hazard per minute on roads you know, and treat any surface you can't fully see as low grip. You'll hate me for a week. Then you'll realize you're smoother and faster without trying. Speaking of tires, here's a simple check riders skip when they feel safe. Run a finger across your rear tread blocks from center to shoulder. Feel that step? That's the squared profile. Expect faster fall in after that edge, so give it a slower initial push and support with throttle. Look for cupping on the front. Feathered edges chatter under trail brake. Trail off earlier until you replace it. What about vision? On roads you've memorized, you drop your eyes. You aim where you always aim instead of scanning the exit, shoulder, and debris line. Fix it with a forced habit. Pick 2 exit markers, 1 far, 1 intermediate, and flick your eyes between them. Keep a quiet grip. Relax the hands. Lock the core. Let the front float over small trash. Here's the bottom line on familiar roads. Comfort isn't skill. Comfort is your brain going offline. You need structure to fight it. Pre-ride check, pressure set, calibration mile, eyes to exit, gentle roll. Do it every time, not just after a scare, because the road near home. This is where you'll gamble the most and where the margin is the smallest. Speaking of feeling safe, perfect weather makes riders even dumber. Let's talk about that next. Mistake 12, sunny day glaze, blue sky, dry asphalt, and you creep 5-10 over into a blind crest because it's clean today. Then the front steps because the surface isn't one surface. Heat softens tar snakes, those black seam fillers, and at lean they act like ice. Not dramatic, just a quiet slide that eats your margin. The problem is, you're relaxed, so your inputs are lazy and your recovery is late. Here's what fixes it. Midday pace drop, trim 10% before crests and blind bends. Scan for sheen. Tar snakes reflect differently than asphalt. If it glitters like a thin line of oil, assume low grip. Cross them upright when you can. If you must lean across them, stay neutral on the bars and feed a hair of throttle to keep load on the rear. Now the visual trap. Mistake 11. Clear visor plus high sun. Harsh overhead light washes out contrast. Your brain relies on edges and shadows to read depth. When the sun nukes the contrast, hazards go flat. Add microsaccade blindness, those tiny rapid eye movements your brain edits out, and you literally skip details. Riders swear the pothole or gravel appeared. No, your visual system filtered it. Perfect weather fast tracks that filter because everything looks simple. Fix it with 2 habits. First, visor care. Fine scratches scatter light and turn glare into haze. Clean with 2 fingers and water. No paper towels. If your shield looks clear, check it against a dark background in sun. You'll see the spider web. Replace it. Skip cheap stick-on tint inserts that distort. Second, brim your vision. Tilt your head to adjust the sun angle and bring back contrast. Hydration. It's a brain thing. Dehydration slows reaction time long before you feel thirsty. Midday rides in gear dehydrate. Fast. Drink before you ride. Half a bottle of water 10 minutes before rollout buys you sharper eyes and smoother hands. On long rides, sip at stops, not just coffee. I had a noon run where the front slid across a tar snake mid-corner. Perfect weather, textbook line, just a hair quick. I felt the front smear like Teflon. Saved it because my grip was relaxed and I delayed my countersteer. I let the bar find center, then added a whisper of throttle to load the rear and finish the arc. A death grip or chop would have sent me to the shoulder. Maintenance woven into the sun trap. Visor, micro scratches, and bugs. You let them stack because the day looks easy. They scatter light and add a halo around every reflection. That halo hides small hazards. Clean the visor at every fuel stop. 2-finger routine. Wet, soften, wipe, blot. Don't grind dry grit into the plastic. If you wear glasses, they need the same treatment or you're doubling the glare. And keep a tiny microfiber in the jacket. It weighs nothing and saves your vision. Strategy shift for perfect days. Adopt a sheen scan and shadow read. Sheen means low microfriction. Tar, diesel dribble, polished aggregate. Shadows mean unknown. Driveways, pothole lips, surface breaks. Treat both like yellow flags. Steady throttle, neutral wrists, no sudden trail brake spikes. Adjust before or after the feature, not on it. Speaking of heat, road temperature climbs, tire pressure climbs, If you set pressure in a cool garage, then ride into noon sun. Your hot pressure may overshoot and reduce compliance. Over stiff fronts skip across seams. Bottom line, set cold to spec, then feel. If the front chatters or feels skittish at small, here's the mental reset for perfect weather. Treat clarity like camouflage. When everything looks easy, force structure. Midday pace drop, sheen scan, head tilt for contrast. Clean the visor at stops, drink water before you roll. Keep your hands quiet. Mistake 10, it's good now. You fix one thing, then ride like the whole bike's perfect. That's how loose axle pinch bolts, missing cotter pins, and barely snug caliper bolts turn a test ride into a yard sale. The problem is confirmation bias. You want it to be fixed, so your brain stops checking. Then a fastener backs out, the wheel shifts a hair under braking, and the bike darts. At speed, a hair is a lane. Here's what fixes it. Treat every post-wrench ride as a shakedown, not a victory lap. 10-minute loop. Low speed first. Heat cycle the bike, then recheck torque while it's warm. Metal settles, fasteners relax. You don't need a torque wrench at a gas station, but you do need hands-on. Axle, pinch bolts, caliper bolts, bar ends, lever perches, mirrors, rear sets. If one moves, the ride is over. Now, brakes. Mistake 9, fresh pads on cold rotors. First stops feel grabby, so you squeeze harder later, then they fade and you call it bedding in. No, you overheated the resin and glazed the pad. Or you've got a spongy line after a bleed and think it'll work out. That soft lever is air. Air compresses. Brakes don't. The worst part is you only find out at the first real stop. Fix. Gentle bedding with intent. 5 smooth decels from 60 to 20, medium pressure, let them cool, rolling between. No parking lot heat soak. Feel for consistency. If the lever creeps or firms up weird, you've got air or a sticky piston. Rebleed. Tap the lines to coax bubbles up, and check the master's return port. If the first squeeze is soft and the second is firm, don't ride. Chain and wheel alignment, maintenance woven into confidence. You set slack by eyeball, then wonder why the bike hunts at 70. Misaligned axle yawns the rear tire. The bike follows the rear, not the front. Add dry links that bind and release, and you get a surge that feels like wind. It isn't. It's your chainsawing. Fix. Spec slack with the bike on its weight, check the tight spot, lube properly, and verify alignment with marks, plus a secondary method, string, caliper, or an alignment tool. Spin the wheel and watch the chain rise and fall. If it pulses, you've got uneven wear. Replace it. Cockpit checks get ignored after simple jobs. Swap mirrors, add guards, adjust levers, then forget the bar ends. Here's an anecdote. A student installed new mirrors but didn't snug the right bar end. At 60 miles per hour, the weight backed out a quarter turn. The bar started to buzz, then wobble. He looked down, target fixation, and drifted toward the ditch. He saved it by luck and a late counter steer. We found the bar end finger loose. That's not a freak event. That's normal when you treat cosmetic mods like they're harmless. Fix pattern. Fastener audit before and after the shakedown. Grips, throttle housing, levers, reservoirs, bar ends, clamps, rear set bolts, brake light switch, axle nuts, pinch bolts, calipers, rotor bolts if you touch them, sprocket nuts if you touch the wheel. Tug exhaust mounts if you loosened anything nearby. Check brake light function after any bar or lever work. Tires and wheels after service. If the wheels were off, verify spacers are correct. Spin the wheel, listen for new pad drag. Check valve stems for caps and cracks. Set pressures cold, then verify hot rise after the loop. If the rise is extreme, you're underinflated or working the tire too hard. If there's almost no rise, you're overinflated or the tire's hardened. Steering and suspension. Anytime you loosen triples or fork pinch bolts, settle the fork before you torque. Bounce the front a few times with the axle snug, then tighten in sequence. If you don't, you preload one leg and bind the fork. The bike will feel vague, then suddenly dive. That vague to dive is how you blow a corner you know on the first ride after service. The fix is free, sequence and settle. Electrical aftermath. You pull the tank or seat, then pinch a harness or half seat a connector. Everything works until it doesn't, usually under load or at a bump. Post wrench, key on, check every light, horn, indicators, and both brake lights. Start the bike and turn bars full lock both ways to sniff for RPM change, cable routing, sticky throttle return, change, cable. The idle surges when you turn, stop, shakedown tempo rules. Stage your speed, 25, 35, 45, then brief 60 with checks between brake feel, steering feel, straight line micro test on a flat, empty stretch to confirm no pull. Hear a new noise? Don't rationalize. Pull over. Nothing you fix today needs to be proven at 80. Prove it at 20, then 40, then maybe 60. And the deadliest mile isn't the shakedown loop, it's the last one to your driveway. That's where people go brain off and pay. Mistake 8, helmet off, mentally. You roll into your neighborhood and your brain drops 2 gears of vigilance. Lazy shoulder checks, roll stops at empty intersections. Nobody's out here. That sentence is the pre-crash monologue. Here's what happens. You assume patterns, you skip confirmation, and a car that never comes does. The worst part is you won't even remember choosing to coast it. Autopilot did it for you. Fix it with a last mile reset mantra. Say it out loud when you turn into your area. Eyes up, mirrors lie, full stop. Eyes up means horizon first, then driveways. Mirrors lie means head turns, not glass. Full stop means the tire stops moving. 0 roll. Now the driveway drift. Mistake 7. Lane drift toward your driveway on a left turn. You cheat the center line early because you're almost home. Oncoming traffic clips your mirror, or worse, because you invaded their space on a blind approach. It's not aggression, it's laziness. You're steering with your eyes glued to the mailbox and the bike follows. Fix. Pick a late apex to your own driveway like it's a blind corner, because it is. Hold the right side, look long down your lane first, then cut in when you can see the entire path and the oncoming lane is clear. Don't point the bike at your mailbox until the final beat. Remember this detail, where your chin points, your bars go. Keep the chin down lane until it's time to turn. Maintenance woven into the last mile. You think you're visible because it's daylight. Dimming headlight and a dirty brake light lens say otherwise. Sun glare plus a fogged lens reduces your rear signal to a dull ember. Clean lenses. Weekly. If your headlight looks yellow next to new cars, your bulb is tired, or your voltage drop is ugly. Chain fling near home is a classic. You over-lubed, then rode 5 minutes. Centrifugal force decorates your tire sidewall with oil before your last slow turn. You squeeze the front a hair on sandy, oily asphalt, and the front chatters. Solution? Wipe excess after lube. Take a short spin, wipe again. Check the tire sidewalls before you leave a stop near home. My worst near miss was a quarter-mile from my house. I glanced at my mailbox for a package. An inch adrift is all it took. A truck mirror whooshed past my glove. I was riding safe in my head. My eyes pulled me across the center line. That wasn't fate. That was lazy vision. I built the mantra that night. Add a driveway approach protocol. Step 1. Cancel autopilot by tapping the tank twice as you enter your block. Step 2. If you're making a left into your driveway, signal early. Move. Right for a moment to square the turn, then turn late with a final mirror check and a head turn across the oncoming lane. Step 3. Eyes to the far edge of your driveway, not the lip. That keeps your line smooth and your bars neutral. Intersections on the last mile are special. Your brain expects emptiness, so it shortens the search. Fix the search pattern, left, center, right, left. That last left catches the fast surprise. Count it. If you don't hear yourself say left twice, you didn't, oh, look. Speed discipline. You let the bike roll 5 over because it feels slow on a familiar street. Fine until a kid, a dog, or a reversing bumper pops out. Drop 5 under your normal pace for the last minute of the ride. You're buying time with boredom. That trade pays. Lighting and signals matter more here than on the highway. Cover the horn and the brake. 2 quick pulses of the brake before slowing tells tailgaters you're actually stopping, not coasting. If you're lane splitting through parked cars on a narrow street, don't. Low speed hides high risk. Surface traps near home. Sand from winter, clippings from fresh mows, pea gravel from new construction, and oil patches at the corner store. Assume the last turn has the worst mix. Approach upright. Finish turns with a tiny roll instead of a chop, and if you feel the front whisper, don't clamp. Keep your hands light and ride it out. The bottom line on the last mile, relaxation is a liar. Treat the final 60 seconds like a test. Say the mantra, do the search, delay the turn, clean signals, dead still stops, then park the bike without a victory lap in your head. You made it. Good. Don't donate it in your driveway. Mistake 6. Muscle memory autopilot. You ride a route, so often your hands start doing the shifting and turning without your brain. I always upshift here. I always turn in at that mailbox. Then one day there's a new cone line, a lane shift, or a delivery truck half in the lane, and your pre-programmed move puts you right into it. Autopilot is great on a plane with redundancy. On a bike, it's a financial ambush and a hospital bill. Here's what fixes it. Force a scanning cadence. Every 8 to 10 seconds, narrate a loop. Left mirror, dash, right mirror, far exit. It keeps your eyes moving and your brain awake. Add micro goals each ride. Brake earlier and softer into 3 corners. Delay turn in until you see the exit cone. Practice neutral wrists over bumps. Now the classic crash maker. Mistake 5. Target fixation. You stare at the problem, you steer at the problem. Gravel in the lane, pothole, bumper, doesn't matter. Your hands follow your eyes. You roll off late, which transfers weight to the front. The bike stands up, and you run wide. The worst part is, it feels like the bike wouldn't turn. No, your eyes told it not to. Fix it with the simple cadence you've heard, but actually do it. Look, lean, roll. Look where you want to go, push the outside bar to set lean, and roll on a hair of throttle to settle the chassis. If you must cross trash, soften your arms, eyes up to the clean path, and commit. You can't not hit what you're staring at. Move your gaze first, then the bike follows. Maintenance woven into brain lies. Neglected controls that feel normal. Sticky throttle return masks itself when you're relaxed. You roll off mid-corner, throttle hangs a beat, weight transfer gets weird, you correct late, and now you're wobbling. Or you've cranked idle too high after a mod to smooth it out, so you think you have engine braking, but you don't. You tip in expecting drag that never shows. Result, you run hot at entry and chop the front. Fix, pre-ride control snap check. With the bike idling, turn the bars full left and right and blip gently. Idle should not surge. Release the throttle. Does it snap shut both ways? Good. If not, sort routing or lube the cables. Set idle to specification. I watched a student lock onto a pothole. He froze, eyes glued, bars stiff. I yelled, "Look through!" He forced his eyes to the far side and the front missed by inches. The save wasn't luck. It was vision. Bars went light the second his eyes moved. That's how fast the link is between gaze and line. Cognitive blind spots stack under stress and comfort. Under stress, you tunnel. Under comfort, you coast. Microsaccades, tiny eye jumps, get edited out, so hazards vanish unless you refresh contrast. Use haunch to head movement to force new angles. A 5-degree tilt or tiny chin lift flips glare and reveals edges. Do it before crests, before turns, and when something feels off. Another brain lie, false urgency. You see a closing gap or a yellow light, and your limbic system shouts, "Go now." That's not skill. Here's what happens. You rush inputs, stack brake, and turn at the wrong time, and overwhelm the front. Fix with a rule. When urgency spikes, freeze your throttle hand for 1 beat and breathe. Then choose. Brake upright or steer, but not both hard at once. Habits beat lies. Build a rhythm that makes mistakes harder. Count your breath to 4 on straights, then reset to eyes, mirrors, exit. Say, look, lean, roll before lean in. Jet pilots chant checklists for the same reason. The brain lies when it's busy or bored. Give it rails. Speaking of rails, set if-then triggers. If I see cones, I lower pace 10% and widen my eyes. If wind shoves, I loosen my grip and press the knee into the tank, not the bars. If I hit patchwork asphalt, I straighten, cross upright, and reset lean after. If, then, scripts crush hesitation. Tie in speed control. Most riders roll off late because they're waiting for proof to slow. Reverse it, brake. With intent before you can see the exit, then release early if it opens. Your brain will scream, you're too slow. Ignore it for 3 rides. Your exits will be cleaner and mid-corner chops will vanish. Finally, manage self-talk. The phrase, "I've got it," is banned. Replace it with eyes first. Replace "I always" with "what's different." Replace "it's fine" with "prove it." And prove it with a light test input. Tiny brake squeeze upright, micro weave to feel surface. Small throttle roll to check response. That's how you turn unknowns into knowns before you're committed. The bottom line on brain lies. Your head will sell you comfort, speed, and certainty. It's good at it. Beat it with cadence, triggers, and mechanical honesty. When you feel in the zone, that's the moment to add structure, not speed. Mistake 4, trusting the rider ahead. You tuck in, stare at their tail, and copy their line. Now you've lost your sight line, you're riding their bike, and you inherit every bad choice. Then comes accordion braking. They tap, you squeeze harder, the rider behind you panic stabs, and someone locks the rear. The problem is simple. Comfort from the pack replaces your own judgment. Fix it with 3 hard rules. Keep at least a 2-second gap with a stagger. 3 if sight lines are trash. Offset so you can see past the bike in front. Run your own pace. If the group drops you for riding smart, that's not your group. Never copy a line you didn't build. Look through them, pick your exit, then commit to your geometry. Speaking of illusions, photo op pace wreck spikes. That's mistake 3. Someone wants the shot, so lines get stupid. Late passes into blind sections, crossings over double yellows to fill the frame, head turns to cameras mid-corner. You feel safe because everyone's together. Group ego doesn't change physics. Fix. Kill the camera pressure with a pass plan. You only pass where you can see exit space and a bailout. If you can't name your exit before the move, it's not on. Tell the group, no hero lines, no crossing paint for photos, and no passes on unknown grip. If someone breaks those, let them go. You're not obligated to audition for their Instagram. Maintenance woven into the pack, mixed tire conditions, and braking systems. Your ABS threshold isn't theirs. Their fresh Hypersports will stop harder than your half-worn touring tire at the same lever pull. Mis-synced brake lights make it worse. Some come on late, some blink from integrated signals you can't see in sun. You think you're fine until the stack compresses and your tire's the weak link. In a group ride this summer, Rider 3, back in a group high-sided on cold rear rubber, trying to match the leader's quick drive out of a shaded corner. Nobody saw the shadow patch. The leader's tire was hot. His wasn't. He snapped open, the rear stepped, he shut it. It regripped. Catapult. Not aggression. Just copycat inputs on different grip. Spacing saves everything. 2 seconds minimum in straights, more if you can't see. In corners, increase it. Accordion forces multiply there. Stagger on straights, single file in turns, and leave exit space before you roll on so you aren't forced to chase throttle. If the leader's pace feels easy, check your data. Are you on your own marks or chasing theirs? Bottom line, run your plan. Group rides amplify brain lies and compress margins. Protect your sightline, protect your spacing, and kill the camera nonsense. Your job isn't to match the leader, it's to arrive. Mistake 2, foot down steering. You dab a foot and chop throttle. Mid-turn because the curb feels closer than it is. The bars twitch, the bike stands, and down you go at walking speed. Low speed isn't low risk. The problem is, you're trying to steer with panic and legs instead of clutch, throttle, and rear brake. Locked elbows make it worse. Any tiny wobble turns into a snap to full lock. Here's the real fix. Friction zone, steady throttle, rear brake drag. Set the clutch in the gray zone where the bike will pull, but can slip. Hold a whisper of throttle. Don't hunt it. Then feather the rear brake to control speed. Left hand sets drive. Right foot sets pace. Right hand stays steady. Eyes to the exit, chin level. Now the "I'll just squeeze through" fantasy. That's mistake 1. You thread a tight gap with stiff arms and stare at the mirror you're trying not to hit. You already know how this ends. Bars deflect, the wheel tucks toward full lock, and gravity bills you for plastics. The worst part is, you had space. You just didn't look where the space was. Fix it with posture and sight. Unlock your elbows, drop your shoulders, pinch the tank with your knees, and turn your head hard toward the clear path. Let your inside hand go light. The outside hand guides. Remember, the bike goes where your zipper points. If your hips face the hazard, you're feeding the hazard. Maintenance woven in. Overinflated fronts make tip-in twitchy at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Set pressures to spec. Dry clutch hand. Hydrate and fix any glove snag. Visor fog hides curbs and parking lines. Crack the shield 1 click before slow maneuvers. A student tapped the front brake in a tight U-turn. Instant tuck. He was scared and used the wrong tool. We rebuilt. With friction zone circles, then figure 8s, then offset cones. Always eyes to exit, always rear brake drag. 10 minutes a day for a week, and his turns looked boring again. The good kind of boring. Drill you can start today. The 3-minute slow speed reset. In an empty lot, do 3 laps of clutch friction with steady throttle, dragging rear brake. Then 3 U-turns each direction inside a parking stall with eyes glued to the far line. Finish with 3 stop-to-turn launches. Stop, head turn first, then roll the clutch into the arc. U-turn protocol on the street. Step 1. Set entry. Move to the outside of your lane to open radius. Step 2. Head first. Snap your vision to the exit point before the bike leans. Step 3. Commit the body. Hips into the turn, outside knee pinched, inside hand light. Step 4. Feed, drive with clutch. Control speed with rear brake. If you feel wobble, don't grab the front. Breathe, add a hair of rear brake, and let the chassis settle. Curb and camber traps. Parking lot crowns push the bike downhill. If you aim shallow at an uphill spot, gravity will stall you mid-turn and you'll foot stab. Instead, square the approach, carry a touch more clutch drive, and use rear brake to hold the line. Painted lines and manhole covers, treat them like ice if you're leaned. Glide across upright when you can. Bars and geometry at crawl speed. Wide bars amplify inputs. Good if you're soft, chaos if you're tense. Keep wrist neutral, thumbs around, and think pressure, not push. Micro corrections beat big saves. If the bike starts to fall in, don't jab the inside bar. Add a whisper of throttle and ease the rear brake. Remember this, low speed demands high discipline. The camera crowd laughs at parking lot practice, but parking lots separate riders who drop bikes in front of coffee shops from riders who don't. Do the drill. Your fairings will thank you. Up next, the bonus mental resets that will save your life. Reset 1. The 10-second stop. Key off at the first pullout if your head's fuzzy. Deep breath. Say the route hazards out loud. Gravel after the bridge, fresh chip seal on ridge. Blind crest at mile 5. Key on. Roll out with intent. Reset 2. The glove tap. Tap the tank twice at risk zones, blind crests, the last mile, and any post-wrench shakedown. It snaps you out of autopilot. Reset 3. The mirror lie rule. Every lane change gets a head turn, even on empty roads. Mirrors lie. Remember this checklist. Print it, stash it by the door, ride like you actually want to come home. Comfort breeds blindness, and blindness hides in perfect days, familiar roads, shakedown rides, the last mile, and slow-speed traps. Structured habits cut the risk you can't see. Which of these have you caught yourself doing? Drop a comment with the one you'll fix this week. Save this checklist, then send this to the rider you want to keep alive. Subscribe so we can build a safer riding community.